Welcome back, everybody, to episode 4 of All Chat. We've got Gunnar, who's going to be joining us this time around. Thank you, Gunnar, for showing up. Condolences, I guess, to everyone here for Betboom. I'm not really sure what to say to players after they lose a tournament, you know?
Just don't talk about it.
don't
I think
bring it up.
that's also the right answer. Condolences never feel like anything, and also stuff like y'all did really well, like, even though you didn't win. That also never feels like it's never felt good. No one's ever said something to like try to make me feel better after,
and it's worked.
Losing that has made me feel better. It's never happened.
Yeah.
Only stuff that's completely unrelated to Dota. Like somebody gives me a smoothie, you know, or we like watch a movie, like that'll make me feel better. But you know
what genuinely makes me feel better? If nobody brings it up. Like if I can just hang out with people and nobody talks about it, that makes me feel good. If I win, I want you to only talk about that. But until then, just if you don't mention it, that makes me feel good. Because I expect you to say something, and if you don't, great. You know?
I mean, that's why I like condolences, because short and sweet. I'm not going to say anything else. Just like, hey, sorry, and then go on. You know?
You're just like, damn, I saw you lose. It was just like, you know, big screen. I had a full screen, really loud audio. I gotta see, like, I actually slowed it down, watched it back a few times. But yeah,
I watched
that's okay.
You trip afterwards when you went to go do the handshake and you fell over. I saw the crying that happened. You know, Gunnar, do you agree? Do you also prefer if people don't bring it up at all?
Depends on how like bad I feel it was. Like the game 5s we lost in January, those were rough. You know, if you're like condolences on your second game 5 loss, I guess it was third, and it'd not be that enjoyable. But
yeah. Well, it's a good thing that we're not here to do a podcast to talk about the tournament that you guys just lost. So
yeah, true.
I mean, it's also been like a few days, so I mean, it's been a few more days for me than it has for Aiden. But time heals wounds, all wounds, and it also does it pretty quick as long as it's not like something being horrific. Maybe this was a horrific one for you. I don't know, but
nah, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's
cool.
Worse.
I mean, surely this one can't be that bad all around because it's the start of the season, right? It's not the end of the season. It's the beginning of the journey, right? I know we're no longer necessarily working towards TI, but ultimately there is like an end goal, right? Which is TI / whatever Riyadh's called.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think part of it is kind of realizing that like we kind of have a grand finals problem. Whereas before, I think we kind of coped, and it was like we have a gladiators problem, which is like kind of a little bit harder to swallow, I think, because like struggling with Dota is one thing, and you can like wrap your head around like this team plays really well, or they do these things well, and this is where we get outplayed. But why every single time we show up in grand finals we look like shit? That one's a little bit harder to like wrap your head around, and now it's like starting to feel like there's something more to it than just like gladiators and spirit being amazing, which obviously they both are. But I think we do something wrong on our end as well.
Yeah, that is a tricky thing. I felt a similar way after we lost the TI finals because we just didn't play well, and so I had to like it wasn't like Spirit was played better than us, but we also played poorly. Like it was like both ends like were pushed in opposite directions.
Exactly.
And watching that finals back and like seeing how atrociously we played, and like if we played just a little bit better, we actually could have like made it a series or potentially won. You know, that hurts, and that's really hard to like figure out. And then you start looking more into like psychology and like atmosphere and vibe and like people's tendencies and all these like little micro things that are like, man, I don't have a degree. Like, how am I supposed to fix this? This is being hard.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that what those sports psychologists are for?
Maybe.
Have you guys ever tried one?
We've had a bunch. Yeah, we've had a bunch.
I was about to say, I remember Gunnar, you guys coming to Bali with yours, right?
Yeah.
So how's that experience?
I mean, I think it matters. It depends on the player. Like, for me, I didn't think it was like too much of a help, but I think for like some people on our team, I think it helped a lot more.
I was about to say, I recall having I don't remember who exactly, but I remember a general feedback saying that somebody thought it helped a lot for your team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I know there was like some people that it was like he focused more time on than others, and like there was definite improvement of it. The biggest thing that he did was just kind of he would make sure we all like talked before the games of like not Dota related stuff. We'd like throw a ball outside and then just be like, what are the goals you want to focus on for the game? But from like a individual standpoint, it wasn't like anything. At least for me, I was like, I didn't really notice too much of a difference.
Aiden, what about you?
You said,
Yeah.
I think my experience has been that you really have to buy in, and it's something that you don't really like maybe fully understand. Because I mean, I've had like 3 or 4 different people that I think we've worked with over the years, and I mean, every single person has a different approach, and some of them are going to work with you like better, and some of them are going to work worse with how you are, and you're gonna like get along with them better or worse. But I noticed like the general trend is always that you kind of have to buy in to whatever it is they're saying, and you have to kind of like convince yourself to believe in it and try to find the value in it. And if you do, it can be really helpful. But I think at the times that we've had sports psychologists, maybe our problems have been more Dota related than psychology related. So it hasn't really been as impactful as it could have been. Maybe now. So yeah, who knows? Maybe now is like the actual time to get one, and it would make a big difference.
And so, Quinn, you've never experienced one? Is that correct? That's not what I remember.
we worked with one briefly on Chaos, which some stuff he said ended up helping me years later in like a roundabout way. But it didn't do anything for me for like a long time, and then like eventually I remembered something he said, and it like resonated in some way. I'm not sure how I feel about it all. Like, I think it really does depend a lot from like player to player, and it's also weird because like Dota is a team game, and one person's vibe or atmosphere matters so much. The game is also one of the few games that has no reset mechanic at all. Like, it's not like CS or real sports or something where there's like, okay, you score a goal, game is now back to where it was. Like, there's not any of that in Dota. So every second matters so much because every mistake, like you make some small mistake and the game is now over and you can't play anymore because you messed up in some small ways. And because everything is so like finicky and finite, like there's a lot of things that just matter a lot. And so it feels like there's so many variables that it's hard to like pin down one thing, or that psychology specifically one like lost this game, as opposed to like, was it just like a laning misunderstanding, or was it like something random? Was this actually like was this some choke? There's just so many factors. It's like, it feels really hard to pin something down.
I think that's something. Have any of you guys felt like individually you had performance or anxiety problems or anything like that when it comes to competition in previously?
I mean, I still get nervous, I think, when we play. Usually, though, once you get into the game and you're kind of focused, it goes away. But I think leading up to games and in games, like right before you load into it, it still happens. I mean, a lot less nowadays than I used to, and like, I've kind of learned to equate the feeling of being nervous to like excitement, because they're kind of close in many ways. And like, whenever I feel nervous, I kind of just convince myself that I'm excited, and it means that the game matters to me. And I kind of like look for the feeling when we go to events, when we play games. Like every time we play Gladiators, there's always a little bit of that. It's like it's fun to play, in a different way than maybe like some group stage game in the hotel room. So yeah, no, for sure.
Quinn?
It's definitely like walking onto stage at TI for me, at least.
Yeah.
Like you feel like the adrenaline, but it's definitely for me. It was the second like the doors close and you can't really hear the crowd as much. Like you put your headphones on, and you all start like talking about the draft. It kind of goes away to some extent.
Yeah, I imagine the draft is like a pretty big grounding experience where you focus up a lot, so a lot of that adrenaline and stuff gets out of your system before you actually start having to click things on the mouse.
What percentage would you say of like your pub self, like if you were just like at home chilling, listening to music, like playing in the zone, what percentage of that would you say you play at, or you played at TI, Gunnar?
The first time I came to mind was like 80%.
Okay,
like 80 to 85, I'd say.
it's pretty reasonable.
So funny. I feel like for me, it's like the opposite. Whenever I play pubs, I'm like kind of half checked out, 50% paying attention to the game, 50% in my own head. Where I like kind of need the adrenaline to like get in the zone nowadays. Because I feel like if I don't have it, I just like kind of, I don't know, don't really care that much.
There's definitely a dichotomy there. There are a lot of players who feel like that. Sumail is like the biggest one who comes to mind, who he just could not care less in public matchmaking, but in officials, like, you know, back in that, he was always locked in. He was always going to win his lane. You know, like he needed that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's completely different when I play officials, and especially like stage games. I just feel like I'm so like present. Whereas like, you know, like we had a pub earlier today, right? And I'm like literally thinking about like, oh yeah, I need to go empty the dishwasher after this game. I'm gonna go clean the bathroom. Like I had all this like all these things that I'm thinking about while I'm playing the game. Whereas like when you're on
Yeah.
stage, none of that goes through your mind. You're literally just thinking about
Mhm.
the game the entire way through.
Yeah.
I'd say
it's
there's
true.
also like a thing though, right? I don't know if you feel this way, Quinn. Maybe it's like core versus up, but it's like in pubs you kind of feel like you trust all your own reads because you kind of have to. Whereas when you're in like a tournament setting, you have your whole team, everyone's talking, and there's like, I don't want to say like there's more at stake, but there's more. You like kind of think more than you would in a pub. So sometimes you like think twice about the same situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the prior year with Gladiators was different from every other year for me. Prior to that, like I like incapacitating anxiety about games and stuff. Like I play like significantly worse. I feel like I play 30% of my ability in officials,
Mhm.
like just dramatically different. Last year was the only year where I've been able to like feel like I could play at like almost 100%. And I think at some point during the year, I felt like I was able, like at TI in our lower bracket run, I think I was playing at 100%. I think I was playing better in officials than I would in any other context. But that was a long road, and even now, that percentage fluctuates on a day. On like, there's a lot of factors to that I don't fully understand. That I'm trying to understand more.
That was actually why I brought that up, because I think I remember hearing that you had like some sort of anxiety performance problems in the past, and you've gotten over that. Is there anything like? Is there any? What is the largest factor? Is there like when you talk about the esports psychologist thing? Was you said you were called something? Was that the little bit that had like made you turn things around?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is reps. Sadly,
Okay.
I think that helps more than anything. I think the more times you go through it, the less like miserable it gets. Um, I mean, I personally sort of understood myself a bit better, and like understood that I think I perform better when I'm amped up as opposed to like calm down. I always try to calm myself down in the past, and I think that would just cause me to get more anxious. Whereas I now get like amped up and sort of just like forget about the anxiety or like cover it up with like another emotion, which has worked really well for me. Um, but yeah, that's a pretty recent thing.
Okay, so I thought when I would see you at these tournaments, in between games, you would put on headphones. Do you still do that?
Not in between games, but I do it before series.
Okay, so you're actually amping yourself up, not calming yourself down.
Yeah, I'm like
Oh,
actively
okay.
trying to get artificially angry, and I
Okay.
find it like helps like me just forget about worrying about the game because I care too much is my issue, and so that caring too much like stresses me out. So listening to something or focusing on something else helps me not care too much.
Are you are you saying that your anger helps lock you in and be a better Dota player?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, is that how you've gotten so much MMR? Are
No,
you
it's
saying
not the
your
same in pubs.
toxicity
It's
is
very
related to your
very different.
MMR climb?
Very 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 different.
Okay, okay. No, but that's really interesting because, like Avery also does the same before a series, right? He also puts on headphones and he needs to amp himself up. Obviously, the job is like different in that regard, and you could see how some people would be better to be calm. Where I think most of the time, passion and energy is better for a broadcast, but as a player, it could go either way. But I had always assumed that when I was watching you with headphones, that you were actually trying to calm yourself down. So that's actually a pretty interesting revelation that it's the opposite.
I mean, I know. Actually, I think like it makes perfect sense to me, like what you're saying. I think sometimes, some days when I'm like not that focused, or like I feel like I'm not that into Dota, or like Dota's not like it doesn't get me excited. then I need like to get myself amped up. Some days I feel like I'm way too amped up, and like you said, when you say you care too much, I can totally relate to that. Where it's like if something like the stakes are like too high, kind of in some ways, and then I feel like calming down is like better way to go. So for me, it really fluctuates from day to day. Like what is needed, and you can usually tell if you like follow me on Spotify. Like the playlist will change, and you can guess like in which state I am. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
Is there a go-to song that you guys have? I'm going to start with Quinn since he obviously listens to me. Like, when you're trying to like, amp yourself up or get angry. What is your like? Do you have a go-to song, or is it just like a general playlist, or what?
I have a pre-game playlist. The
Okay.
song the last song I listened to before I go on stage changes from period to period. Last year it was a My Chemical Romance song.
Okay.
I will see what it is this year, but I like the last song I listened to before every official was the same.
Okay. That's something that I do as well, actually. Before casts, is that like I have a couple different songs that I usually listen to, so that makes a lot of sense. What about you guys?
I mean, for me, it's been One Piece recently. It's related to whatever I've been watching, and it's
Fucking
been.
knew it was gonna be an anime.
Yeah, of course you knew it.
I knew
But
it was gonna be.
The thing is, okay, hold on. This is very recent. Like, it's just
How
the
recent?
OSTs. It's not like the actual intros. It's like like when they're fighting and it's epic.
Mhm.
It's that song. It's like the fight song. Like there's no lyrics to it. It's just the music. And then like the epic version, like you go to YouTube, you type
Epic
in
version.
favorite
Yeah,
song,
yeah, yeah.
epic
They have a
version.
bass boosted epic version.
Exactly.
Reverb.
Nightcore.
Exactly.
Spe-
Nightcore,
sped up.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's like if I want to get amped up. If I want to calm down, then it's usually like, I don't know, some really old song that I like listen to in the car with my dad or something. The first thing that popped in mind, it's what's his name? His name is the song is named "A Spaceman Came Traveling," and it's by Chris de Burgh. It's super.
Okay.
I feel like none of you guys have heard the song.
I
I've never heard
have
that song.
heard of it. I couldn't tell you by ear, but I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Gunnar,
I
what
just
about
pick
you?
a-
Routine, Gunnar?
I just pick a song depending on the day.
Okay.
And I
That's
just
fair.
sometimes I'll listen to the same song like for like multiple times.
Yeah.
I remember in TI qualifiers I listened to some Sean Paul song for like half an hour.
I
think at TI was Suicide Boys. I was listening to a lot.
I'm a big believer in I have no scientific backing for this whatsoever, but I'm a big believer in like songs helping to like certain sounds and songs and stuff like that helping to trigger certain states that you want to be in. So I have a song for like when I'm traveling and I want to go to sleep. I have a song that I listen to on repeat. I have a song that I listen to when I'm like warming up for a cast and all that sort of thing. So yeah, that all makes sense to me. All right, well,
I think it helps.
How was your guys' experience at you guys were in Dubai?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. How was your guys' experience at the event?
I mean, it's a very good event. They're very good at running events. I mean, they spent a lot of money on that event. Holy crap, they spent a lot of money. And when you spend an unfathomable amount of money on things, they tend to be pretty nice.
Pretty fun. Pretty nice.
And that was my general feeling for the event is holy gracious, they poured some money in and the event was nice because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was one of the, if not the nicest event I've been at in terms of like just being there and like how the tournament was ran. Bro, we had one game a day. You were bing chilling all day long. You're at some luxury resort. Like, you have 5 different restaurants to pick for your food. Some of them are buffets, so you can just get food fast. Some of them are like you can sit down and get a 3-course meal. Yeah, and then like they offered an activity. Like they would like pay for you to go do something, which is really cool. I haven't had that experience at any other event before.
Is that where all the dune bugging was going on?
Yeah, that's why we did. You did that too, right?
Yeah, we did dune bugging too.
Some other guy jumped out of a plane.
Yep, they stole it.
Shit.
Dude, Jobs was so mad. He was like, he went to the tournament organizers and told them we want to do skydiving, and he said they were like, oh no, apparently like skydiving was never available to anyone. And then like we asked someone from Gladiators like 2 hours later, what are you guys doing for your activity? They're like, oh, we're going skydiving, and we're like, okay. That's cool. Good to know.
I don't know how that ended up happening. We were the only team to win skydiving.
Yeah.
It was
You guys were
weird.
the winners of the last Betboom, right? So maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
maybe there's some bias there.
Privilege. Yeah.
Hey, well, how was skydiving? Have you ever been skydiving before? Did you go, Quinn?
Yeah, it was me and Tofu, and then some people from our staff.
Okay.
Nobody else wanted to. Or Anton wanted to, but he was like busy because what happened? It was kind of funky. Like originally, we were gonna go, and it was like planned. Anton was gonna go, and then the group tied, and so we had to play 1v1 tiebreakers for the group, and so it got canceled because it like conflicted. And then I lost really fast, so like we ended up having time again.
Intentionally or?
And so unintentionally, I was just garbage.
Okay. Sure.
And then so like we ended up having time again, and so then we like just like rushed it out and like ran out the door, and Anton wasn't there. But it was really sick. It honestly wasn't scary at all. It was just cool. And I don't know, kind of a wild experience. I had a really great time. I think it was really fun. It didn't feel dangerous. Like you're strapped to some dude who's done it like 100,000 times. And there's also something like peaceful about like if I die, it's not like it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna like evaporate. So like that's kind of it's like chill in that regard.
You're chill. You'd rather die really fast, just like not see it coming.
Of course, who on earth wants to get burned alive? Like, yes, please put me on the barbecue, spin me around, roast me like a pig.
I mean, you have heard those stories, those like extremely rare circumstances, but people have survived from that, right?
Yeah, sure, but I don't think I'm an outlier.
Sure, I'm just saying that like maybe you don't survive, but maybe you don't instantly die. That's what I'm pointing out. But that's really cool that you got to experience that. That's still on my checklist of like things to do. Like I'm afraid of heights, and I'm a big believer in like challenging fears. So like I did bungee jumping, but I haven't done skydiving.
Oh, shoot.
Right.
Bungee jumping, I feel like is way scarier.
I agree. I
also feel like that one's scarier.
Bungee jumping is terrifying.
You have just like a cord, you just jump off.
Yeah, like the whole idea of fear of heights is like hitting the ground, right? Like you're literally getting close to the ground as bungee jumping and experiencing that a few times. Yeah. What did you guys think about having a 1v1 tournament in the first place? I was actually just looking at it because I was like, oh, did Gunnar play in that? But you didn't, right?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I lost to Shiro.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay, Gunnar. You're an offlaner. You're an offlaner now, dude. Don't worry.
Yeah. I haven't played mid in like 4 months, 5 months. I'm old.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, mid has got to be the role that you have to keep the most active with, probably, right?
And why did Boxi get top 4?
Boxi plays mid all the time.
Well, we can also talk about the bracket, to be fair.
Yeah,
okay.
That's true.
I mean, that bracket was only support players. It was literally only support players.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
they didn't see the bracket. The bracket was RNG. So it ended up where one side of the bracket was only support players. So like,
wait, I thought it was
saying this now. Snake King versus Save, Ari versus Boxi.
Yeah, no, this was done on purpose. I think we were told that like they wanted the matchups to be close.
Oh, it was purposely I
think they intentionally put the supports in a support bracket. This was done like on purpose, and like the mid laners had like, I think if you were a core, you would run into a core. It was like that's kind of how the idea was. Whereas like if you're a sub, you'll run into another sub.
Interesting. I feel like it should have been the inverse. I mean, if you're looking, the thing is, it's for content, right? If you're looking for integrity, though, it should probably be the inverse.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Sure.
But I will say, I think Boxi could take down a lot of mid players, more than you would expect, because he used to be one of the greatest like mid players in Han once upon a time. If like during their era, Mickey was number 1, Boxi was like number 2. So, he's a good mid laner and has years and years and years and years of experience of playing it like on pro teams and stuff. So, I think for us in the team, it wasn't that surprising, but maybe like for people on the outside, it was kind of cool to see. So now that I'm thinking about it, I do think he lost to the first mid player he played against.
Yes,
in the
he
bracket.
did.
Yes.
Sadge.
But I also don't doubt what you're saying is true.
Yeah.
I wasn't too surprised by that because I remember the Dreamleague that I was at. Do you remember this, Aiden? You guys played a 1v1 against the team you were going to face. It was like Virtus Pro or Na'Vi.
It was Na'Vi. Yeah. It was a Leipzig major. Or we're about to play against Na'Vi, which at the time their mid player was Magical. And for those of you who don't remember, Magical played a pretty nasty TA. And for like, I don't know, months leading into this event, every time we played them, Max would just say like, ban the TA. Like first phase, ban the TA every single game. Don't care, ban the TA. I don't care. I'm like, bro, you play Huskar. He's like, I don't care, ban the TA. Like, but you're a Viper specialist. Don't care, ban the TA. And then Boxi's like, there's no way this guy's TA is that good. And then we asked them to 1v1, and Boxi goes 1v1 against Magical. They play TA versus TA right before our series starts. It's like, the pre-match, both teams are sitting down on their sides. They load up, and I think Boxi kills them at like level 2 in the most Boxi fashion. And then he calls it. And yeah, Boxi kind of owned. And then, we all popped off. We were giga hyped up. I think we beat them 2-0. I don't know if we've done the TA. It would be kind of funny if we did. But yeah, that was a cool 1v1 leading up to the game.
I remember thinking after that 1v1, Boxi kills him on his specialist hero. I was just like, oh, this series is done. Like, how do you mentally bounce back from that? Like your signature, you lose a 1v1 against a non-mid laner on your signature hero.
On your
like,
Siggy.
Like, how do you come back and like actually beat these guys after that? That was such an insanely. Why did that happen in the first place? Like, you guys challenged them to a 1v1, but like, surely they were like, why do you want to do that or something, right?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know why they agreed. They had, because I think this is the benefit of being a support. You have nothing to lose. Yeah. Like, you go into it, like, let's say, like, because we were talking about William pumping Quinn, and when we was on tournament, we were all excited for it, like, and William kept saying, like, no, there's no way, dude, there's no way, like, Quinn's gonna destroy him. He's, like, one of the best mid players in the world, obviously. And we're like, William, it doesn't matter. Just imagine if you want. And we just kept saying this to him, and I feel like that's, like, the advantage that, like, Will has, or, like, Boxi has over people, is that, like, he has nothing to lose. If you lose, it's the expected result. But if you win, oh boy. So I don't know why any mid laner agrees to play like any 1v1 against non-mid laners. I feel like you can only lose.
That's true.
I'm looking at this now, Quinn. You lost your 1v1 by 2 CS. That's what it came down to.
Correct. I was up 1,000 net worth.
He was conceptually he won the lane.
Wait, how were you up on net worth but down in CS? Because
he had to buy regen and shit.
Because he bought like 8 more styles than me, and I made him go to base like 4 times.
Yeah. In a real game at Dota, Quinn won the lane, but in a technical, like in a rule standpoint, he lost.
I kind of just forgot. Like, I just got wrapped up in playing the lane, and I kind of just forgot that it was CS and not like net worth or something. And then it's 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, whoops.
Okay, so if they did another 1v1 tournament, would you want to see a rule change in that regard? Like, do you think net worth is better? Okay.
Yeah, because I think it will make lanes shorter. They won't go to 15 minutes as much because people like they know they're losing as they buy salve after salve after salve. They're just like they're burning their lead away. So people will like play more aggressive and they'll play to like win the lane as opposed to like how these things break down when it's CS is. You lane for 5 minutes, you lane to level 5, and then at level 5, the lane's decided. Whoever has more CS then will win because they will nuke every wave and get every CS because your nukes are too strong. And then at 15 minutes, whoever won up until level 5 wins the lane. Like, and you buy bracers and salves, and there's no counterplay. Like, it's just whoever had the most CS at level 5 now wins the lane.
I mean, I feel like you should just remove salves and mangoes. Remove salves, remove mangoes, and now you have a fun 1v1 setup.
I mean, then people are gonna die real early.
Yeah,
that's just gonna be crazy.
Just fight.
I also think that's better. I think it should either that or it should be net worth at like 10.
Were players watching the 1v1 tournament while it was happening?
I mean, I know I was like in my bedroom. So what was really cool about this event also, which I think like a lot of events in the future could, if it's possible and they want to spend as much money as Betboom did, please do the same thing where like our bedrooms and our practice room were on the same floor. And it was only us on this floor. Like there were no other teams on our floor, which made it like really nice. So it felt like our own private area, just like at boot camp or whatever. So I was in my room. My room was about as far away from the practice room as you could get while still being really close. And I was watching like the stream. Unfortunately, Kiritich versus Blitz was not a hype and up matchup, so they didn't stream that game, I think. But like in the room as I'm watching like some other random 1v1 matchup, I just hear William yelling like as loud as he can, just like ah, like losing and going ape shit, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck just happened? Because it could be that he lost and it was super close, but it turns out like that he won, and it was like the most hype thing ever. And after that, I know like Nisha and Mike and Nara and Boxi, they were like watching all of each other's matchups, and they were like kind of coaching each other and being like, "Oh, this should happen and this should happen." And like when Nish would watch Boxi play, you could tell like he's more nervous than when we play like 5v5 officials. Like every CS that he's like, "Oh no, he's doing that!" Like, "Oh, don't trade like this." "Oh, he should have contested that CS," or like like all this kind of random stuff was going on in our back room, which was like super fun. I think like for me, because I was purely a spectator. I feel like I don't understand like mid lane matchups the way these guys do. And to be a part of that and to see it happen was like really, really fun. And I mean, I hope most teams watched, and like probably pretty similar atmospheres, I imagine.
Do you guys feel like there was any other revelations, like outside of, oh yeah, Boxi's a good mid laner, he can actually play that? Were there any other revelations from this 1v1 that you felt like?
1v1s are really stressful. Like, they're really, really, really stressful. I hated it, actually. It was really miserable, genuinely miserable for me, because I don't have a routine for it, and I don't have muscle memory or reps for it. So for me, it was like going back 7 years ago where like I can't breathe, and it was really, really miserable. If there's one in the future, I don't think I'll play it, because it's like I had a horrible day. It ruined my entire day. Like it was like awful.
And it's also like Aiden said, right? It's like as a mid, you kind of have a lot to lose in this. Like if you lose to a not mid, you're just like, oh my fucking god. And then even if you lose to another mid, you're like, now I'm, it just feels bad, right? From like an internal standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think if there was another one in the future, I don't think I'd play it. It's distracting for me, and it is like way too stressful.
Yeah.
Quinn, I love you, but the fact you built this up so much and you only played one best of one is pretty funny to me. Like, I had a terrible day, and I'm looking at you had 15 minutes.
No, the thing is, because I lost the 1v1 the prior day too, so it was like 2 back-to-back days of like my self-worth being like shattered by losing like 1v1s and stuff. So it was like a build-up.
Wait, so you did like a practice 1v1 beforehand?
No,
sorry,
it was tiebreakers 1v1.
Right.
Yeah, so I lost a tiebreaker, and then the next day I wake up and I lose to a carry player, and I'm like, all right, I want to die.
I mean, all I'm saying is what I'm learning is I'm gonna practice 1v1s for the next one, and I'm just gonna try to win one round against the core player. I feel like that's already setting my team up for success at the event.
Yeah,
like
if you
imagine you lose to
you gotta
me.
play.
Not only am I a 5, but I'm also like the most boomer player at the event. Like the amount of like it's like the worst thing that could happen to you. If you lost to me, future core player that's gonna lose to me in a 1v1 event, shame.
I mean, the revelation I had was kind of the Mirana was like the best hero. If you were a good Mirana mid player, you'd like win the 1v1 tournament. Or got top 4. Because it ended up there was like an entire like draft phase that there was like a meta for, and the most common one was Mirana, and like that was the one I played, and I wasn't really comfortable with the hero, so like I felt like I played that one bad. But like I feel like it was like 50% of the match or 60% were Mirana or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing yeah. There's a lot of Miranas in here.
Yeah, and that one was it was like a boring matchup, I think, because it's just like pure CSing, like what Quinn was saying. And then you hit level 5, and then you just press Starstorm on every single wave. And then you have 5 bracers, so they can never kill you. And then you just exist there, pressing mangoes off cooldown to have Starstorms for the next wave.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it needs a rule change, for sure. If we fix the rules more, how would you guys feel about 1v1 tiebreakers? Because I have seen, like, remember like 2 years ago at ESL1 Malaysia, somewhere, we had a 1v1 tiebreaker. Was it Sumail versus Armel? Something like that. It was super hype, right? And I think a lot of people enjoyed it. But then we had another 1v1 tiebreaker a year later, and a lot of the community was like, oh, this is fucked up. Like, you shouldn't determine things that way. How do you guys feel about 1v1 for tiebreakers?
I don't like it. I think if it's if it's purely for seeding, it's okay. But if it's anything more than seeding, I think it's too much.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. If it's like between like upper bracket, lower bracket, I think it's not a good thing.
Yeah, like a KL, I played a 1v1 for upper bracket, you know, like that's a bit too much. That's a lot.
I mean, 1v1s just aren't Dota, in my opinion. It's like a different game. Like, it's not even just like you practicing mid. If you're practicing a mirror matchup, it's not even practicing mid.
Sure.
It's like,
Okay, what about we change the 1v1s so you have like one celery and one tofu on each side of your screen also. Like we do a gladiators mid lane. Like the game starts at minute like 5:30, and then you have one celery and one tofu, and like the other team has like an Insania and a Boxi, and they're stuck to their side lanes. And only the celery and the tofu can come in.
That's a little more my speed. I could come on board for that.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. I think like when your tournament life is on the line, it like, and I mean obviously I think I have like some of the best mid players in the world on my team, and I still feel like it does feel weird to have no control over the outcome, where it's like a team game, and like you're basically determining which team moves on based on one player's performance in a format that's not really like, I think like, okay, in 2009 or whatever, sure, it worked because mid lane back then was just like basically the same thing as like a 1v1, but nowadays there's so much more to it. So I think like it doesn't really make sense for modern Dota in the same way it maybe did once upon a time as like a proof of skill, I guess, or however you want to view it.
So if we replaced it with overthrow, you'd be more in favor of that.
I'd be down.
Yeah, something like
I would
that.
actually be down for overthrow more than a 1v1.
Okay. All right. Now we're cooking something.
What about you do like just all three lanes? You only play like laning phase. Play till like minute 8 or something.
We talked about this. This is what we were talking about. But then it's like, okay, just play Dota. just have a best
point,
dude. If you just tell me, oh, the game's over at 8 minutes, it'd be so sad.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah. See, Aiden, I thought originally when you were talking about the support thing, I thought you were going to suggest like an FGC like tag in system, where you're playing this 1v1 mid, and at any point in time you can tag in your support to gank for you.
I know one thing actually we did way back in the day. You just reminded me. There was a Han 1v1 tournament for teams, and the way it worked was like the first round you nominated who you wanted to go in. So like, let's say I would go, like my team would nominate me because I'm the worst, and then Gladiators nominate Celery because they think like he's also like the worst, but maybe he'll beat me, and then like the winner will then play like the next player, and you eliminate like players from each side. And I remember Limp like cleaned house. That was actually kind of a cool way to do it. I think if you wanted to do like a tiebreaker 1v1 for upper and lower bracket, maybe you could do this.
The thing is, that just takes so long. You could
at that point you might as well just play.
That's more than the length of a game, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I guess the thing with 1v1s is, as you were saying, it's like 8 people, and 10 if each team has a coach just aren't really involved in anything. They just kind of sit there and they're like, oh, I guess we're lower bracket now because he missed uphill 3 times or something. That sucks.
Yeah.
What can you do?
All right. Anything else about Betboom you guys want to talk about?
Event was great. After party was great. Staff did a really good job. I mean, I think all the stuff that we met, our player handler, everything was great. I was genuinely, I think this was, for me at least, one of the nicest events that I've been at. So I'm super satisfied and super happy. Great job, Betboom. And keep spending money. And Fissure.
Yeah, holy crap, to reiterate, holy crap, they spent so much money.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the nicest event. It wasn't as fun for me as TI, but I feel like that's kind of cheating. Because, like, it was my first TI I played. And we had, like, a decent run. But in terms of just, like, being there and having, like, an enjoyable time and, like, playing and everything, this was definitely the best.
I mean, I wasn't jealous before this conversation, but now I am. Thank you. The okay, so Gunnar, we'll just talk about you. So you guys recently kicked Stormstormer. He left. I didn't actually watch the video.
It was a kick, yeah.
Okay. So I guess the first thing everybody wants to know is, are you going back to mid lane?
To my knowledge, no.
Oh, to your knowledge, no. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I said I could do both. Like, I didn't care if I was mid or offlane.
Okay.
But there's like no offlaners like available. to be honest. And I like playing offlane because if anything, I think it's helped me because when I was mid and maybe it was like team based or like who I was playing with or whatever, but I'd feel like I'd have to like overperform to some extent on my ability, and I feel like on offlane I never feel like that. I just kind of have to do my job, which is like a lot easier to play. Because I feel like when you try to overperform, at least for me, it was like it'd lead to playing worse, you know? Because
So
if you just have to
felt
play
like you
good,
had
you just
to
have to play
carry your
100.
team more from the mid
Yeah.
position.
Yeah, to an extent.
Quinn, have you ever felt that way about your role?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think sometimes you just want to do more than you can. I think it's like it's a bad habit sometimes like people can fall into, me included. I think I'm pretty good about it now, but I think it's easy to like there's some crap going on, especially like I remember like early on and like playing like there's some crap going on. I just want to be at the fight because like as a fight I need to be there, and like you can kind of just get roped into like trying to do everything, but that's not really how Dota works. You can sort of like forget like what you're trying to do and just like do stuff. That definitely happens sometimes.
I mean, I always felt like when you switched over to offlane, Gunnar, I felt like personally, from my judgment of your playstyle, fit your playstyle more. That I feel like you're a very active and almost like sacrificial core. Like I remember one time you told me, I don't care deaths.
That was an envy. That was an envy phase.
No,
you got.
You told me it was after you left that. It was when you were coached by March, and you left the Ginnerbrews team.
Oh yeah, well that was that. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, that was because I had 2 carries on the team. I had Frev and 23.
Okay.
And then so basically, I remember the way we almost qualified at TI was I would just pick Ember or Puck first pick every single game, and the first time I would buy was Boots of Travel, and I would go between the tier 1s and tier 2s and cut the waves for 30 minutes to make space. And so it didn't matter if I died, I just TP again and just keep cutting the waves so that my offlaner carry could farm.
Okay.
And then eventually we'd win.
So I had an unhinged playstyle. What on earth?
Bro, if you watch the games, I literally, all my games, I'd like went first item before Blink. There's no Witchblade, so it was like Blink Rush was the puck build, right, back then? Or like Veil Blink, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just go Boots of Travel first. just to kill waves.
Okay, so would you disagree if I said that you have more of a space creating playstyle?
These days, to some extent, yeah. At least, like, I haven't really felt that way in a good amount of time. Like, I wouldn't say that's how I played at TI or Bali, I think.
Okay. So how do you feel like you're sliding into offlane?
I mean, for offlane, I think it feels really nice. It's like, you don't really have to, you just have to be really good at the game. You don't have to do much more than that.
Okay.
It's like, you just play your lane. The laning's really fun. It's CSing is really easy when you're a mid player laning versus a side laner. And then, because you do like all the tricks, and if they weren't a mid player, then they don't really do the tricks.
No, I agree with that. I agree with this part. We and Gunnar actually talked about this in real life. I agree with this part. It's the laning as an offlaner is really fun. Yeah, it's super fun when you play the most
laning
broken
as an
hero.
offlaner is
when you play the most broken heroes in the game.
Mars,
yeah,
and this guy walks to the creep lane, you spear him back. Did I last hit? Yeah, it's fun. You play Centaur, the guy walks up, you stun him for 2 seconds. Oh, whoops. You have a Furon 5 ETPs to your lane with a blood grenade. It's fun. You don't have fun?
Offlaners, I feel like offlaners, like, their heroes suck ass for like half a patch, and then they're like losing their shit. Like, how am I supposed to play? I'm on even terms with the enemy team. This is so unfair. Fucking offlane heroes.
Do you think what role has the most OP heroes right now? Is
offlane, always
offlane.
That's true.
Always.
I don't know if that's true right now. Let me think.
Always. Okay, guys, there's a guy in Dota that plays 4 heroes offlane.
Yeah, it's true right now.
It's true. Right now, it's offlane. Yeah.
Okay.
It's true.
It's not just right now. It's always. Always.
No, I think there's definitely been mid patches.
always.
No.
Like, okay,
It
okay.
is
Sorry.
predominantly offlane. It is predominantly offlane.
It's almost always offlane. There was a period during Lima Major where I think fives are the most broken because Treant and Undying were so
way too
busted.
stupid.
Yes.
They
Oh
were
my goodness.
so busted. And I'm a five. I'm willing to admit they were omega broken. But outside of that one like 2-month or 3-month period, offlane is like always the most busted heroes.
I mean, there was the 5 creeps mid, where
Oh, yeah.
The
mid
Disruptor
was,
Lich.
the 5 creeps mid was pretty unreal. You're like level 8 and the silence level 4. It's like, okay, I don't know how we can play against this guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think that wasn't related to the heroes. That's just game mechanics. The
Yeah.
heroes themselves, I think offlaners are always the most busted.
Why do you think that is?
Because offlaners are the biggest noobs, so the game needs to be the most skewed in their favor.
But there's no offlaners.
That's why!
Everybody has
They're all
told me.
noobs! They're all noobs!
But if
That's
it's so
why.
easy, then surely there would be, because I have heard multiple times, high profile teams need offlaners. They're looking for offlaners, right? Surely there would be more players moving into the offlane if it's such a desired role and it's so easy to play.
I don't know.
I think offlane's the hardest role.
I think it's
hard to
hard.
play, yeah.
I think the
Okay.
heroes are easy, but I think, I mean, at least the way I see it, and the reason why I think it's fun is because I feel like offlane's the most like puzzle role that you kind of have to like figure out what you're supposed to do in terms of like items and way you play the map and like just everything as opposed to other roles. Like I feel like to an extent, mid is like very you like do your thing every game. You like lane for 5 minutes, and then you like tire sports to come mid, then you gank the guy mid, then you gank the side lane, then you go back mid, and you just kind of like do this and like carry you just farm. But often it's like I feel like it's every hero you play differently to some extent, and every game you play heroes differently.
So it's the most dynamic role in that what you should do every game changes a lot.
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, offlane's hard. Like, sometimes you have to buy, like, pipe, then Vlads. Sometimes you have to buy Vlads, then pipe. And then in other patches, you have to buy, like, drums, then pipe. Yeah, like, it's
Don't forget
crazy. It's
Wraithpact.
like, yeah, and, like, sometimes, like, you need to buy, like, Soul Ring, Vanguard, and then other times you need to buy, like, Vanguard, then
Dude,
pipe,
I
then
missed
Soul
the
Ring.
Vanguard patch. Dude, I missed
Nobody
the Vanguard
misses
patch.
the ace Vanguard offlaners.
Dude,
every
it's
single
so
game.
pleasant. I click my
Minute
offlaner,
2,
he's stomping
minute
his
2.
lane every game. It's so nice.
Minute
Like,
2,
oh,
he has
nice
Ring
one.
of Health. Oh, alright, guys, I guess the game's over.
I click my
offlane-
ace, he has killed his lane 7 times. Like, alright, game's over, we won.
Yeah, dude, offlaners, high skill players, guys. I have a lot of respect to you guys. Like, you have to pick between, like, Vlads. The thing is, okay, think about it like this. Every single item offlaners buy is always broken in every patch. Mage Slayer, most broken item of the game. Guess who's buying it? Offlaners. Pipe is most broken item in the game. Everyone, guess who's buying it? Offlaners. Mid laners have some honor. I respect mid laners because, like, there's at least, like, they need to, like, do something. They need to click
Bro,
some buttons
what was
on their
TI?
keyboard.
TI was a blade mail heart. Every hero mid.
I mean, this TI was a low skill patch, etc., etc.
The TI before it was like, which TI
The
was
TI
not a
before
low
mid
skilled
was fine.
patch?
The TI before mid was fine.
Well, yeah, but in Dota it was like a Wraithpack patch.
Yeah, that wasn't a mid thing. That was just
I know. I'm just saying. So what wasn't a low skilled TI patch?
TI6.
Obviously, like the TI's Liquid and OG1, I think, are high skill patches.
Obviously.
It's like, what,
And
TI
Wings?
10?
What about Wings?
All I remember
Wings
is,
also, yeah.
Blink Dagger offlane for Collapse. He was, doing all these initiations. That's
I think the
Okay,
Spirit
okay,
one
okay.
was the first.
I
Spirit
actually
one was high
think
skill.
TI10 was pretty high skill.
I think it was a high skill.
TI10
TI.
was high skill. Don't disrespect
I-
TI10.
TI6 is also high skill.
Don't disrespect TI10 after
So what's this?
Aiden's
TI6?
says Liquid and OG and not Spirit.
TI6,
Okay,
TI7,
Spirit also
TI8,
counts. Yeah.
TI9, TI10.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't remember. Was TI5 the Lush Lena thing? I think I watched it. I wasn't playing the game, so.
TI5
I feel
was
like I
less
have-
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
Lush Lino.
Less
I have
just
no
like
say.
unimaginably broken.
Yeah. I mean, I have no say on those years. I didn't play. TI6, obviously, Wings, like, they played every single hero in the game. High skill patch, clearly.
TI7 was
What
liquid, right?
was 8?
8 was first OG.
7 was high skill patch. Like, you cheesed every game, right? It was like Brood, Huskar, NP, Veno.
7 was
Necro.
Giga. 7 was obnoxious.
Yeah,
That was
it was like
That was a
green
bad
hero.
patch.
That was high skill, clearly.
Great.
XD.
What
What even was the 8 patch?
8 was 8 the gyro cop? No,
Gyro
gyro
was
mid
okay. It
was
wasn't
gyro
broken.
mid. Wasn't
No,
LGD
that
playing
was
gyro mid? That's TI9.
8. That was 8. Gyro mid was 9, and like
Tops and gyro mid diffusal was 9.
yeah. And it was also between. It was before 8. It was like in the 70. It was in the VP year.
I see.
I can't remember. It's too long ago.
Yeah.
So like 6 through 10 were high skilled, and then 11
I mean,
and 12 weren't.
I'm obviously just memeing, but like, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I also think 12 was high skill.
Where did we place the 12?
Top
Sixth?
6.
Nah. Shit here.
The Blade Mail Heart was stupid, but Blade Mail Heart didn't even win the tournament.
Dude, Blade Mail Heart, good patch.
Okay, so could it be
Blade Mail
a
Heart.
thing that the offlaners, they're buying the most OP items? Isn't that just because the OP item is discovered and then it has
By
to
the
go to
smart
offlane
offlane players.
Well, I'm not saying the smart offlane players are discovering it per se. It's just like it's relegated. Like, who has to? We need a hero that buys this item. Doesn't it just get
Yes.
relegated? Like,
It-
offlaner,
Yeah,
Yeah,
offlaner has
because
to
the
do it,
subs
'cause-
don't have enough gold to buy like important items for the team usually.
Yeah,
like
and
if
carry
there's
has to
like we
carry
need
the
this item.
game, and mid has his
Yeah.
1v1 match. He has his matchup mid, and he has to run around
Yeah.
do things. So ultimately, like the 3 position is just
Yeah,
has the responsibility of carrying the good items of the patch.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm mostly joking. Like, there's
Yeah.
definitely truth to what I'm saying, but it's not as extreme.
There
as
is
everyone
also
else
truth.
thinks.
Offlaners historically, I mean, offlane heroes conceptually just are stronger. Like carry
Yeah.
heroes, like by concept, are supposed to be weak early and farm fast. Offlane heroes are supposed to be strong early and farm somewhat slowly. Is how the heroes work, right? Just
Usually they don't farm
conceptually.
slowly though anymore.
Yeah.
Now they just farm fast.
Yeah, maybe there's power creep issues and stuff, and like Valve is also just bad at nerfing certain heroes. They just like won't do it, and so some heroes will stay broken for long periods of time because they have a broken concept, and Valve won't nerf them. So they just stay really good for a long time.
Dude,
I'll say
I'm just
I-
having flashbacks to Vanguard. I'm so glad Vanguard is gone. Thank you so much, Valve. Oh my god, Vanguard period was so boring.
I'm just gonna buy
Oh
Vanguard
my
if I ever
God.
play versus Liquid.
Dude, what
I
about
actually
Poor Man
forgot
Shield?
about
He'll just
this.
get
Remember that
trauma.
Poor Man Shield meta? Oh,
PMS?
That was
That's
too
so
long
long
ago.
ago. Yeah,
That-
yeah.
That's
Okay,
way
okay.
too long, Kev.
I don't
Come
have
on.
trauma anymore
Sorry.
from that.
The Iron Talon patch was funny, where offlaners just went jungle level 1 because it was
The
you farm
Legion
fast
Commander
in the
Iron
lane.
Talon.
Yeah, that was funny.
Venom. You remember when people started playing support? Like the actually was a jungle role, and it'd be like a Venom sup jungling with an Iron Talon.
You farmed really fast. Like
It was
crazy
really. It was
fast.
you do have like more farm than ever in your team if you just jungle Venod.
So on this idea of all these different patches and stuff, do you guys have a wish list for the next patch? Because we should be getting some sort of patch coming in. I would assume in the next month, 2 months, something like that. Do you guys have anything big that you would like to see change?
Please nerf the broken heroes, like for once. Like nerf them properly. I feel like there has been this trend for like in recent Dota history where they just don't nerf the broken heroes enough and they stay broken and they just keep nerfing them little bits. Like I'm a big proponent of like I think it's nice when there's variety in heroes. And when the same heroes are broken, it means the same responses needs to be picked to counter those heroes because that's how the Dota works, it's a circle, right? And I feel like when a hero is broken for a long time, you should just crack it over the head with a hammer and like put it 6 feet under and then like slowly make it like nurse it back to health. Don't like give Doom -1 damage on Scorched Earth. Like please make Doom you can heal and TP and cast spells and items, or like just rework the spell. Like there's a
So
like,
it does
the spell
nothing
has
but
been,
damage.
Dude,
the
Doom
spell's
now
been
heals
broken
you.
for years. It's like just stop. Don't let it be good. Make it bad, please. Same with Pangolier. This
I
has
was
been
going
the
to
best
say
mid hero in
too.
the
Quinn's
game.
talking about Pango.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's been the best mid hero in the game for like 3 years. Just make it bad, please. Just make it bad. Like it's been so long, but they just won't do it, and it's so frustrating. Why won't they make it bad?
I feel that way about Furion. I've hated Furion for like really hardcore for the last year and a half, and maybe it's different for you guys as pros, but conceptually, I feel like that hero is so dumb.
It's
I
pretty
hate-
annoying, especially because the blood grenades now.
Yeah.
Like he TPs to lane, gets guaranteed kills because of blood grenade.
I mean, my big thing is that I felt like he has the dumbest, like literally like the lowest IQ gameplay. For like his laning used to be, like spawn treants, throw them at heroes, right? You get like 6 gold in return for killing a treant, right? You didn't really have to micro them, but at least there was some element there. And then now it's just like teleport. You know, he just teleports 500 distance to hit you with his, fucking 20 extra damage and 10 extra armor. You know, what is this? It's just like the dumbest gameplay. Yeah. So I would very much like them to change Furion in some way. You guys, Aiden, Gunnar, you guys have anything pressing that you want to change? Nobody said nerf Mage Slayer.
I want Mage Slayer to be. I mean, the item makes a lot of heroes bad, which is kind of sad. Like especially like some supports and some mids, I feel like are just. You can't really pick them.
I think the only sad thing with Mage Slayer and like this concept of like you deal no damage, is just in some ways kind of boring. It's like it's not satisfying, like I don't even think the guy that has I mean, I don't have Mage Slayer ever, so I don't know. But I imagine even the guy that has Mage Slayer doesn't feel like, holy shit, I have Mage Slayer, I'm so, I'm Giga owning. It's just not that like satisfying of an item to buy. It's like when the Wraith Pack thing was around and just like nothing dies ever. It's impossible. Yeah. And like if you somehow manage to die, you're royally fucked up. But no, I mean I want to play real 5s. I feel like I don't know, I'm playing like Batrider, I'm playing Enigma, I'm playing heroes that can farm. Like the goal of my hero is to farm. And I feel like I kind of miss being able to be like a little turd. Like I'm just some AA or some CM. And like my purpose in life is not to click creeps. It's to do shit. And I feel like most of like because of the way the map is and stuff like this, it's ended up becoming like you kind of have to be a hero that can find farm somehow. And it would be nice to play like more of like the old traditional 5s again. For me, that's like, I don't know, I want to play Oracle. I want to be some coddle that gives somebody mana, and not like the most broken laning hero to secure my carry to CS, because otherwise we're gonna get offlanered and lose. I feel like that would be kind of cool.
I was gonna ask if you wanted to play heroes that would go and kill something more often than farming, and then you said no. I want to play Oracle and sit behind somebody waiting for them to get gone on, or coddle and giving mana.
But I feel like you could do cool shit with this. Like I feel like in the old days, like you could come up with some cool strat where you had like some coddle 5 and like the draft would work because it all came together and like there was some cool stuff going on. But nowadays I just feel like, oh, I'm Oracle, I have 29 base damage and like your offlaner hits for 87, so XD, I hit you 7 times, you take no damage. Like it's just unplayable. Like it all comes down to like laning somehow. And if you can't get the heroes through lane, then the heroes just kind of suck. And I feel like that kind of like locks a lot of the 5s. At least that's my impression. But like you just can't play a lot of heroes because their laning is just too bad. And you can't break outside of like the mold of what Dota is supposed to be because you just can't get through the lane. You can never get online. You can never make like this strategy work because you just can't get out of lane and you're just locked behind it. And if that's like by nerfing the best heroes, that's how you make it happen, then let's do it. Or just give Oracle, like treant space damage, and we can work with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, would be cool to play some just different heroes.
Gunnar, what about you?
The only thing I noticed, which is like I don't know if this is like weird for you guys, but I feel like first bloods to an extent. I feel like sometimes if you die like pre-runes, like someone gets a first blood, the game is kind of just really hard.
I'm actually down for them to make a pre-rune day again.
Yeah, I don't know. These like first bloods, it's like really boring sometimes. Like you'll feed a first blood because like something stupid happens, and then whatever lane got the first blood just kind of auto wins, even if they weren't supposed to win. And then the games are like, oh, we counterpicked this matchup. And this guy got first blood because some random other person like messed up. But now our counterpick matchup is going to lose just because this guy got 500 gold instantly. I don't know. It feels really bad in the game.
I agree.
Do you guys, what would you guys think about a concept where the game starts faster and you don't have these like bounty runes and stuff? Like the game just goes creep spawn within like, basically within 5 seconds of you getting outside of the base.
I would not like it.
I think
so you still like the preemptive setup.
I think that the setup time could be shorter because it's like what, 1:15 or something? Isn't it really long?
It's a long
right
time.
now?
Yeah. Combined with the fact that you get out there faster with people smoking and the
also
extra nighttime movement
also the
speed.
thing, yeah, there's nighttime movement speed as well.
Mhm.
I feel like if it was like 45 seconds at night, it'd be slightly better because it'd basically be like you'd get the wards down and then you kind of like step in your position and that's it. Because right now what happens is there's so much time that like people don't even smoke at the start anymore sometimes, and they'll smoke literally just for a kill on the runes, and they'll like pick up the runes while smoked that the other team doesn't show up. I think that is like it just doesn't feel fun.
I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I kind of like those things. I don't like how game breaking the first one is.
Yeah,
like, I like all the other stuff. I feel like it's cool that people are, like these late smokes and like whatever people are coming up with. I think it's cool. It's being explored. Like that part of the game is being explored, and I think reducing the time will make like less things possible. So I don't necessarily think that's like the right way to go about it. But I do agree that like the consequence for sometimes like you were like a little bit late to your lane or something like super small happens to go wrong at the runes, like and now the game is just over. Like the entire game is just skewed by like this level 1 thing. Seems like a bit extreme, but I do like, because I think if you remove that incentive, maybe people don't try to explore it as much as they have been recently, which I think is cool. So I don't know, I'm a bit torn.
One small unrelated add-on. I think they should stop nerfing heroes in a way that makes them less fun. I think what they've done to Ember is like really sad.
Yes, I agree. I feel like
Ember has been
wish they just made his numbers
and
lower.
This hero's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I think you should make heroes worse by either making their laning worse, so you have to pick it in more specific cases, or nerf their damage some so they're just not as stupid, or something. Rework something about them. But don't make the hero miserable to play. Why does Ember feel like I'm drowning in molasses now every time I cast a spell? Like, can all my spells not have 800 seconds of cast point? Like, what? How did you nerf it like this? Now I just don't want to play because it's not fun. Like, I feel like that's conceptually a bad way to change the video game.
I think they're just bad. Like the cast point changes.
There was the change where your remnant goes out slower based off of your own movement speed, but you're saying the cast point changes?
No,
so the ult is there's a 0.2 second cast point to throw it out, and then a 0.2 second cast point to like start going to it, which means that if you want to like throw it out and then go to it, it's like 0.4 seconds before you can actually start traveling to remnant. Where in the past it was 0 and 0, so it'd be like you could just like click it back to back.
I mean, I can just say if you go back to TI like 11 and watch me play CM against an Ember clicks Sleight of Fist on me and he takes 80% of my HP, I think stuff like that is just dumb. I
agree. When Ember's broken is a fucking dumb concept. You can't do anything.
I think like that's the parts that should be nerfed. Making the hero feel worse to play and making the hero feel like laggy, I think is like part of the reason why like we didn't want to come to Dota from home. And you might actually gatekeep players that would be interested in playing Dota because they're like, oh my god, I can do all these cool stuff with Ember, by introducing changes like this. Because I think like having movement that feels fluid, no matter what game it is always something I think people are attracted to. Like feeling like you're in control and you can like do the things you want to do, I think is like one of the nicest feelings. Like if you do play Ember and you dodge some spell with like jumping to your remnant or like something like this, like even as a person who never is the Ember and only on the receiving end of getting my Venge Stun dodged or whatever, it's cool and I can respect that, and there's like a skill to it. So I agree. I think like that's not the right way to nerf them. Just make Slight not take 80% of my HP.
Okay.
Just make it do like 80% damage or something, of your right click. Something like that. I don't know. Or just lower the bonus damage. I think number changes are usually more fun than like cast point changes.
That's fair. All right. I think we're going to kind of wrap things up here, but I actually have one more question. So I put it on Twitter asking for a question, and there was a trend, Gunnar, where a lot of people are obviously asking about like Stormstormer and if you're going to go mid. But the other one was talking about all the weird heroes that you play mid. And one question stood out. What is your favorite weird mid hero strat you've ever theory crafted, but didn't like ever pan out? And I'm going to extend that to basically the rest of you guys. Like, what is the weirdest like theory craft you guys ever had that just like didn't end up working, but you wanted to work?
Okay, didn't pan out.
Yeah.
I can think of. The one that did pan out that I was really happy was Tusk. So I was the first guy to start picking Tusk mid, and that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then it became like really, really popular at like, was it TI? It was like one of the TIs that got really
11,
popular, right? The
TI
Tundra
11.
TI?
Yeah.
The Tundra TI. Which is really cool. I think the ones that didn't work out, I remember I had a Arcane Blink phase of Shadow Fiend in pubs. And I was like winning a lot of pubs, I think, on it at the time, but it was definitely like super clowny because I would just go like Brown Boots and Arcane Blink. And then I remember somewhat more recently, I was trying to CM mid with I would rush Blink, BKB, and Shard. And I would just try to like ult people. And I was like, oh, I can only pick this if there's no BKB stun on the enemy team. And I realized in like 80% of games that there's some form of BKB stun in like every single draft. And I was like, I don't think this is a reasonable thing to ever play.
That's fair. What about you guys, Aiden, Quinn? Anything that you went through, maybe even Han or something?
No. I mean, more recent. In Dota, I've had a lot of weird phases. I had a period when I first switched to Dota where I thought, like, I'm sure, like, literally every noob out there can relate to this, but I'm like, Invoker has 9 spells. How is this hero not broken in every position? Like, it must be a skill issue. You know, people must just be bad at playing it. So I had an Invoker 5 phase where I played it a lot. I would play Exort, not Cosvex, and I would just Sunstrike globally. So I'd be like, imagine what NP is. Like, that's kind of like what I thought I was. And then I would buy Midas and just be like a mid Invoker, but from 5. Trash. Didn't work out.
Okay.
More recent than that, I think, let me see, this is before TI 11. I had an Arc Warden phase where I thought Arc Warden 5 is super good. It was right around the time where they changed the thing with Dire. I thought Arc Warden on Dire is Imba. And now I've circled back to thinking that it's actually probably good. And like, let's say you were some Arc Warden enthusiast, like you're some mid player that played Arc Warden 4 billion times, and you decided I'm going to become a 5, and you started playing at 5, I think you'd win a lot of games. And it would probably be good in comp games too. Just problem is all 5s too noob to play Arc Warden 5 at the moment. But I think it's good.
So you're gonna be the first one then? Is that what you're telling us? You're brushing up on your Arc Warden?
I'm not sure I will be, but I think it's good. If someone decided to become really good at it, I think that hero could pop off.
I mean, I'll just say, Aiden, from a personal branding standpoint, like maybe you screw over your team's win percentage a little bit, but you'll look a lot cooler to the rest of the world.
That's true.
As a 5 position, people would be like, "Damn, dude, that guy plays 5 position Arc Warden.
I want to play 5 Arc like Insania."
Yeah, exactly. This could be
right now
right now you got Oracle, but like how many people actually want to play Oracle?
Dude, a surprising high amount of people that I meet at LAN are like Oracle enjoyers.
I'm sure there's quite a big bias though that they're talking to you and they know you're an Oracle enjoyer.
That's true.
Yeah, they probably just say it, to make you feel better that you're an Oracle player. This is a good question for Quinn. Quinn, I want to hear your Theorycrafts. Have you read a good Theorycraft?
So you pick Tango.
I'm really
and then you buy Diffusal Blade.
I'm really not a hipster. I'm like the antithesis of a hipster.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've only seen you play popular stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to play. Whenever someone is like theorycrafting something, I really don't want it to work. I'm like, please let this not be good. Like, I actively don't like hipster stuff, and I like things that are like mainstream and like have like historical grounding in Dota.
So when new stuff becomes like mainstream, do you get like sad when you have to learn it?
Yeah, it's sort of begrudging. I'm like,
like when you had to play. You played Tusk, right? Mid at some point.
Yeah, it was the last game at the Lima finals.
Were you like annoyed you had to learn the hero?
I was annoyed a bit that it was good. Yeah, I was like, I wish this wasn't good.
And you had to have seen Gunnar early on playing it, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, there are also phases where I think people are trying new stuff, and I just don't think it's good. And it's not that I don't want to learn it; it's just like I just don't think this is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I tend to lean like on the skeptical side. Like, I think there are definitely phases where that's the case. For instance, like I think Earthspur was a decent hero, but I also think it was heavily overpicked during the TI phase. Like this bit where it's like first pick, I thought that was a bit ridiculous personally, and the hero was not a first pick hero. Other teams disagreed, but like that just tends to be me is like when something gets like super boosted up, like I tend to think of the counters and what is good against it and why it is like flawed rather than like it's super broken, let's jam it. I tend to lean on the opposite side. So like, which is why when like I tend to not theorycraft that much stuff because I shoot stuff down a lot.
So wait, when your team starts theorycrafting stuff, do you like hold yourself back? You're just like, all right, I need to let them cook,
There's a balance to it for sure. I also think that it's important to have someone on the team who like is more skeptical But you
I
can't
think
be
being
too
grounded
skeptical
is good.
because it will like it stifles like creativity and stuff. Like you need to like let people talk about stuff, but you also have to be like realistic. You know, if Tofu wants to play like 4 Sand King or something and buy like 2 win laces, I'm like, okay, why 4 Sand King? You know.
I think it's so funny. I was gonna ask who your hipster is, but I think I know. But I think position 4 players, I think, are the most guilty of like wanting to make something work just because like they want to make it work.
Yes, Tofu is an omega hipster.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to him enough to know, but I think Boxy is the exact same. Like sometimes Boxy will just not play something because other people are playing it. He will straight up say it. He'll just be like,
I've heard,
"I don't want to play it because like these guys are playing it."
Dude,
I'm
that's
like,
the Thompson thing.
that's a
There's
Thompson.
like-
Have you heard about the
Yes,
Invoker
yes.
thing?
No.
Where when Invoker is really, really broken, Thompson was like, I don't want to play Invoker. And then when it got nerfed and not as many people were picking it, he started asking.
Yes, that is the Thompson. He literally will play heroes until everyone else picks them. Dude, the way you counter Thompson is if he has a broken strat, everyone steal his strat and he'll stop picking it.
Oh shit, that's why he's not playing Dazzle anymore, right?
Yeah, because it became a
Well,
common.
Dazzle
became
also got nerfed
mainstream.
into the ground. He's actually
Yeah.
going to start playing it now because he got nerfed into
Oh,
the
okay,
ground.
okay.
Did he get picked at this last event?
We played
Yeah,
it. We played it.
mid some.
Yeah, we played it.
Laurel played it once or twice, I think.
All right.
Okay.
I have to ask, Gunnar, did you by any chance you watch the last episode of this podcast? It's perfectly fine. If you
Who's
said
on
no.
it? Who's on it?
Saberlight?
I did, yeah.
You got
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! What's the beef? What's the beef?
Bro, I didn't even know we had beef.
What's the beef? No!
I've talked to that guy like twice or something. I don't even have him on Steam. We talked
mean-
to TI for like
Oh.
very briefly. I think that was
I
like the
was
first time we
so
talked in person.
excited.
Well, I didn't know he was tipping me, and then in our series versus them, and I asked like Tao because he played with him. I was like, "Why is he tipping me?" And he's like, "Oh, he just likes tipping people. He's just messing around. Don't worry about it." And then I was like, "Oh, okay."
I have a because I'm not sure if you heard the part where I brought up the fact the last time we talked to him about beef. He hated some other player within his own role, right? It was basically the old TSM offlaner, and he admitted he knew nothing about the guy. I'm sure he's a perfectly nice guy, but like fuck that guy, you know? Like I think he just manufactures like rivalry for himself. It's probably some motivation thing where he's just like, this guy's coming into my role, into my fucking house. Hell no! Like he thinks he could just play offlane. So you don't want to feed into that at all?
I mean, no.
That's
I mean, I
fair.
don't have anything against him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he's nice. My conversations with him were like pleasant. Like we were friendly. So I don't know. I feel like when I was mid, I would down talk people more. I'd be like, this guy's dog shit. I'll beat him mid. You know.
Okay, Gunnar. Who's your one beef in Dota? I must know. Don't have to
One
give any
beef?
context. Yeah, if you have one person you hate in Dota, who is it? You hate losing to,
Or just hate.
or just hate.
hate.
Either's fine.
Um,
And we invite him as our guest next episode.
Yeah,
I
that's how
actually
we
can't-
decide our guests.
Welcome, Light Knight 69.
I don't know. I feel like the issue is a lot of the beef comes from pubs, but I feel like I don't. Since I started playing Europe, there's like so many players. I don't really.
Go with your gut, bro. Go with your gut.
my
First
gut.
person. My latest one is FN. Me and FN have beef starting today.
I don't.
Oh,
I
shit.
feel like I don't have any beef with pro players really.
No?
I mean,
Yeah,
I think I
who's
used
your pub
to
beef then?
pub beef. I don't have beef
Number
with
one
Europe.
pub beef.
If you like some napkin or some shit, or like A and B from like
That-
back in the day
that-
in NA,
That's fair.
like Ice Queen 67. You know those guys.
That guy.
You know, like that. That's like some. There's
That's
the
not beef,
dentist.
That's just being a
What's
good
the dentist?
person. and
Oh, the
dislike-
dentist. Remember that guy, Aeon? Is that his name? He's this
dentist?
guy. He's like an NA player, and he always tells everyone that he like says he's better than you because he's a dentist or some shit. And like one time, I was playing Wind Carry.
Yeah, I remember
This
this
was when
guy.
she was a Universal Hero, so she was like actually a good carry, but no one had like started picking her yet. And I was like, oh, I think she's good. I'm gonna play her carry. And like he was just feeding mid, and he's like, this game's dog shit. We have a Wind Carry, and I was like, bro,
I'm a
just try.
dentist.
We're gonna win the game.
I'm a
And then
dentist.
he's just like, you're wasting your life. You know, I'm a dentist. I'm like, okay, dude.
Dude, this
Like,
guy
good
sounds
for you.
so funny.
Oh
You guys
my
know
god.
that thing how like dentists stereotypically have like pretty bad mental health because like nobody likes going to the dentist, right? And it like kind of comes off on people. And those people are typically that person is a think about that. That person is a dentist and a Dota player.
Yeah,
that guy is not a happy person.
Yeah,
that guy is not a happy person.
I don't
That's
know.
a rough Venn diagram.
Yeah,
that might be like top 5 bad Venn diagrams to be
Dota dentist, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of pro player beef. I feel like I haven't really had super bad beef with the pro player. There's like the whole envy thing, which I was kind of mad at him about, like him and Brax. Yeah. But then Brax and I like we talked about it, and it was better, and we're chill now.
Yeah, Brax said it was Envy's fault. Is that?
Yeah, you just threw him under the bus. And the envy one was, I don't know. It's not like it was never so much like beef that I like hated him. You know, it was kind of just like a kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a shitty move, and you were on the receiving end of it. So yeah.
There's like been like some Ramsey stuff, but I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of him. It's like he was just like he just kind of does the thing, at least in pubs, where he's like kind of flaming you, but then he'd also be like nice to you. So you're always just like, oh, you know, he's like flaming you behind your back, or in like Russian or some shit.
He just kind of flames everybody. It's just his thing.
So then you're just like, you're like, oh, I'm not taking it like personally because he's just flaming everyone. But then you're always just like, you know, it is a lot of flame.
There are way too many pro players that I see with Ramses as their pub name. You know what I mean? Like they're making some sort of inside joke, something about it. I don't know if it's good or bad, you know. But I remember there's some player. Is it like Maureen or somebody? Somebody recently.
Amar, I think.
Oh, is it Amar? It was like his name was like the legendary Ramses or something like that.
Yeah, that was Amar.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like beefing with pro players. I try to like just be friendly with everyone. I think it's better for me at least.
Yeah.
Like when I'm at events, I usually try to just say hi to people.
Yeah. How was casting, by the way? Last thing, you did some casting, right, Gunnar?
Yeah. Right? I casted till the end of the event, the playoffs. It's fun. I like casting.
Cool. All right, guys. You guys have anything else? Otherwise, we're gonna wrap up. We're at like an hour and a half. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Gunnar, for coming on. I know it lasted a little bit longer. Hopefully you're good on time.
I'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for coming on. It was a lot of fun. And shit, I'm just now noticing that I didn't change the Twitter tag on the overlay. So you are at Jonas Velik. Sorry about that. But you guys can check out what's your Twitter at Gunnar Dota?
Yeah, Gunnar Dota.
Listen,
just like Photoshop it onto the video or something.
For the record, we recorded this 2 hours earlier than I expected, so I just scrambled to change some overlays. I changed your name. I just forgot to change the Twitter thing. Anyway, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time for All Chat.
What is our stance on product placement, Cap?
If we're getting paid for it, I'm good for it.
What if I'm getting paid for it and you guys are not?
Well, at least somebody's getting paid for it.
There's no way you're contractually obligated to promote Alienware in podcast. Are y'all monetarily incentivized to like shout it out, or is it like a contractual obligation?
There's like a meme.
It's neither. It's literally just a meme.